Hey guys, and welcome back to Nioh. Today I'm going to teach you how to deal with the mimic chests. First, you whistle at them, and they come out at their little hidey holes, and then they'll do an emote at you. Oh, there's a little friendly little chest slap, and then you just slap them back,
I'll fucking rip your face
and then they
off,
give you the
Holy
Hello again, my ethnic slurs. The Nioh 2 beta was a couple months ago, and I meant to make this video then, but life gets in the way sometimes. From what I remember though, it was pretty good. What was once a game about becoming the one true weeb has blossomed into a game about forming roving gangs of Sengoku waifus and beating up demons. Me and the Thought Squad did do quite a bit of Jutsu testing for you, so if you made it through the beta without using any of them, or just didn't catch the beta while it was going on, we've got you covered. I'll give you a general spiel about how jutsus have changed, or stayed the same as a consequence of the numerical transition. Go into a talk about which jutsus are and are not present in the game/beta so far, and finally talk about some synergetic bullshit I got up to with it. Obviously, this is just what we know from the beta, so all this information is subject to change and also very likely marred by the fact that my memory is garbage. For that reason and more, if you have anything to add or you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, because you're probably fucking right. Nioh 1's been out for like 2 years and people are still telling me shit I didn't know about it. But all that out of the way, let us begin. Obviously, first off, we've got a new system for readying all our jutsus. Instead of needing lump sums of capacity to ready batches of several casts, you can now micromanage a bit more as you ready each individual cast of a jutsu. It's actually been pretty great because if I have leftover capacity slots, instead of them going unused, I can literally just bring 1 or 2 extra shurikens or kunai or elemental shots, which of course never hurts to have. And instead of having superior versions of the skill that cost less to ready, now when you improve the skill, each attunement costs less and you can attune more maximum. It meets the same end as the previous system, just in a way that's a bit more user-friendly. This is pretty characteristic of the changes to Nioh 2 overall versus 1. A lot of common sense changes that make things more convenient while giving you more customization and options. As for jutsus specifically, Ninjutsu has less major changes, so we'll start there. You've got your standard fare, like shurikens, kunai, poison, and paralysis paraphernalia for all the old abilities, along with some new buffs for arrows, but the big new star are the shadow arts. They all seem to imitate the advanced Onmyo elemental jutsus in some fashion or another, only they're way cooler because you blow little feathers out and they transform into magic. Yoroka water seems to be the hardest to hit with since it doesn't seem to track shit and doesn't even deal good damage when it hits. Maybe I'm not using it right though, I don't know. Raijin is literally just a ninjutsu version of Thunderstorm from Onmyo Magic, and ninjutsu has once again got the best way to apply fire in the game so far with Flaming Heron. It creates 3 flame orbs that apply high fire and ki damage, and really good flat damage when the enemy runs out of ki. But probably the best thing about it is that it actually tracks. Like virtually nothing we had access to in the previous game, it tracks and moves slowly. So it's hard to miss with unless the enemy is just out of range to begin with or runs away, which I'm fairly certain is an impossibility of this game's programming. Onmyo Magic, on the other hand, used to have a pretty good stranglehold on applying most of the elements, but that will be pretty well shattered if they can get the other 2 shadow arts to track as well as Flaming Heron. Helping this is the fact that one of the biggest changes to Onmyo Magic is that the wind and earth elements seem to have been discarded entirely, which, I mean, you know, is fine, I guess. I'll miss Wind Shot. I mean, it was one of the only ways for Onmyo to almost guarantee an elemental proc with 1 cast. Guardian Spirit Talismans also didn't make an appearance in Onmyo, which I hope is just because it's not in the beta, because it would be a tragedy and a half for that not to be here. I mean, the whole yokai ability system is basically the same thing, but using them can be annoyingly risky sometimes. Yokai shift also seems to be so hard to get into that Extraction and Pleiades Talismans seem to do almost nothing for you, so it would be a shame for the new Guardian Spirit abilities to see such rare use. To top it all off, I couldn't seem to figure out what Confusion does in Nioh 2 now, which, for those of you unfamiliar, is the status effect that happens when you apply more than 1 elemental status effect to the same target. I'm sure I could figure it out given proper time, but it definitely seems to have changed since it doesn't purge a yokai's ki bar anymore. But it's not all bad for Onmyo because we've got new stuff to play around with now. A lot of my favorite stuff is in buffing this time around. We've seemingly lost Carnage, which is unfortunate because someone actually informed me the other day how to make it purely a buff in 1, but we've gained a lot of support stuff on the other hand. All the buffs have a skill called a Decree that you can get. to make the buff in question also apply to allies. The range isn't very good, but if you can get it off, this is super useful for stuff like regeneration and protection. Protection talismans in particular went from being kind of useful in Nioh 1 to being something I think everybody should carry with Decree. I did a lot of co-op, as I do, and I saved my hosts dozens of times with protection. You see, if you're fast enough and you see your host get grabbed, which, they do, you can react by immediately casting protection, and it will just straight up absorb the grab damage and then give them a little bit left to reorient themselves with. And if you miss part of the grab and they have low health, you can cast regen, and what the protection didn't absorb is now overshield on them, while the regen gets them back up to full. Decrees are just really good. And at the risk of Team Ninja realizing that they could make ninjutsu better than Onmyo again, I will say that a quick change scroll decree would be pretty fucking great. Regardless, the support game for Onmyo mages is super strong now, and the buffs aren't all just for support. You can already be thinking about how to mix your jutsus together to get some strong combos going. Fire Familiar and Cutting Blast, for instance. Fire Familiar surrounds you with fire orbs that will damage enemies you get up close to, and if you do strong attacks, the fire orbs will actually launch off of you and hit what you're locked onto. Kind of like little free fire shots. It's basically Flying Sword from Nioh 1, but better. Cutting Blast, on the other hand, is a buff that will make you shoot little mini Getsuga Tenshos when you strong attack. Think of them like miniature soul release projectiles from Nioh 1. Now separately, these two buffs don't seem all that crazy strong, but together they are pretty good. You've got a couple of other new things like Sensory Overload, which sounds amazing. It turns enemies into time bombs, which is pretty cool, if a little bit weird to set up and find use for. A Life Leech Talisman that is basically what I expected the Leeching Talisman from 1 to be. It lets you leech life from enemies by attacking them. And we actually have a new useful physical spell besides the also new Cutting Blast, which is the Blessed Bolt. I think this thing is going to be great if we get the ability to cast stuff faster, because it is almost amazing at the moment. It's an untracking projectile that will fire directly at the enemy's weak point. If this tracked just a little bit, it would be so much better. A man can literally just be lazily sauntering through the woods at a snail's pace, and if you cast it, it will miss. In combat, it's even harder to hit with, since the cast time is so slow and it takes a hot minute for it to acquire the target, even after you've finished firing it. But if you manage to hit humans with it, it will put them in a crumple state that you can do a finishing blow on them for. And it also worked on the boss, the human boss in the beta that was available in the side mission, which is pretty great, because fuck that guy. Just please, Team Ninja, give if you could just give everything, just give all of our projectiles that you need to lock onto stuff for just a little bit of tracking, just a teeny bit, just a little bit, just a fucking little bit. Just put us on a level playing field with the actual people who use jutsus in the games. Just please. I mean, you're clearly capable. Speaking of needing tracking, the last big thing in Onmyo Magic is these Shikigami talismans. I don't know how to feel about these, really. They deal elemental damage comparable to an elemental shot, but they do not track. And if they miss, which is pretty likely, you'll have a hard time making them useful for anything, because they'll either drift off into no man's land and explode after a while, or if it's even remotely close by you, you have to lure the enemy over to it and either hit it or get the enemy to hit it. It's just too much setup for not enough payoff. If you made this thing 3 or 4 times more powerful, I might consider using it, but right now I can't find the time for it. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe you guys had better luck using them. Let me know, obviously. And I think that's pretty much it. Ninjutsu lets you throw money on them thirsty hoes, but it has no idea what up and down are, and it throws in a weird arc, so 75% of the time it doesn't hit. And when it does almost nothing for you, so it's, I don't know, it's basically the fist talisman of this game. It's a meme. I don't know. If there's one thing I can say generally about jutsus and the Nioh 2 beta in general, it's that stuff doesn't seem to last very long. Your yokai shift doesn't last long. Your buffs and debuffs don't last long. And I mean, I don't want to pass any judgment and say this stuff should be extended, because in Nioh 1, this kind of stuff was heavily affected by stats, which may be something they're going for and trying to make jutsus just significantly more useful for people who actually do build themselves for it. Or, I mean, who knows? I might be crazy. It's been a while since Nioh 1. I am a significantly less patient man. But yeah, that's all I got. Tell me how wrong I am in the comments, and please tell me new things. The whole point of this and any future videos is to help, and correct info will help me help you. I have a vestigial Discord available in the description if you guys want to hang. If there's another beta, I will gladly play it with you guys on the stream this time. Otherwise, I'll see you guys when the game comes out. It's been a pleasure.